Hey guys, and thanks for coming out at the very early hour of 11:15. And welcome to the Lolitics panel, where we're going to be talking about political memes and how regular memes and politics collide, and all sorts of fun interplay between the political world, sort of IRL world, and the internet world of awesome hilarity and sometimes provocative humor stuff. So we have Dan Sinker, Biella Coleman, and Latoya Peterson, who also, you should also give it up.
Yeah.
And first off, Dan Sinker is going to tell us about the Mayor Emanuel Twitter that he had and some more awesome stuff.
It's true. But first, I actually have to comment, these are hilarious tables. They're really tall. So I feel like I'm like 7 at the dinner table right now. Let me get this. So yeah, hi, I'm Dan Sinker. And for 6 months back in 2010 into 2011, I ran the @MayorEmanuel Twitter account, which told over that course of that 6-month period kind of an alternative and extremely profane take on the experience of Rahm Emanuel running for mayor of Chicago. For those of you not familiar with the account, very quickly, he said a lot of things like this. This was actually his very first tweet written on my couch at about 10 o'clock at night. This was the same day that Politico went live with the rumor that Rahm Emanuel was going to run. And so a lot of the account was basically based around the idea that this was a guy who knew he was going to be mayor of Chicago, but found the actual act of running for mayor incredibly tedious. So he teams up with people like David Axelrod, who comes from the real world, was actually not on his campaign. They invented characters like Carl the intern, and he goes about doing the things that you do when you run for mayor, at least at the beginning. So he figures out slogans, he gives talks at places like Threadless, which is based in Chicago. And eventually, the story becomes more and more involved. More and more people and characters come together. He adopts a couple animals, a puppy named Hambone and a mustachioed duck named Quaxelrod. And Quaxelrod actually kind of becomes the mascot for the entire story as it goes. This up very specifically, rest in peace, Adam Yauch. But eventually, attention on this account got incredibly large. There were about 8 to 10 times more people following this Mayor Emanuel than the actual Rahm Emanuel. In fact, even though he's been mayor of Chicago now for over a year, he still hasn't caught up with the number of followers that @Mayor Emanuel, who hasn't tweeted in over a year, has. And the storyline ends with the realization that the job of mayor of Chicago is not simply to run Chicago, but also to protect a time vortex of infinite Chicagos. And in fact, my Mayor Emanuel had escaped through that vortex, and so there were 2 in our time. And the account ends quite dramatically in what was actually a massive freak hailstorm at the end of February in Chicago as Mayor Emanuel dissolves into time itself. This is the final tweet of the account, which was seen by about 50,000 people. Now, I had remained anonymous throughout this whole thing, despite a lot of journalists' best efforts to figure out who it was. And it was about a week later that finally my identity was revealed by Alexis Madrigal writing in The Atlantic in a piece that like referenced Russian literature. So that's awesome. This came live the following Monday. The election was the previous Tuesday at about 1 o'clock, and by 3 o'clock, this led to this, which was newsmen on my front lawn. This was the first ABC 7. There were 5 more news trucks that would follow over the course of the next hour or 2. This inevitably led to this, which was meeting Rahm Emanuel in a live meeting if you see, it might not show up very well, but I have a very deer caught in headlights look in my face, and that's exactly what it felt like. This was a live meeting broadcast on TV live and on Drive Time Radio live. But the thing that I actually want to talk very briefly about today before throwing it to these folks is how much this picture, which was taken over 6 months after the account began, looks like this picture, which is Hillary Clinton meeting with the Text from Hillary guys 1 week after they began Text from Hillary. And to me, there are kind of two lessons that I walk away from that. One is you're really only hidden if you don't want to be found. And two is the politicians have learned a very important lesson, right? Which is if you want to disarm the meme, you embrace it, right? You don't run from it. You don't try to shut it down. You embrace that meme and you allow it to kind of become a part of your story. To reference the Supercuts panel, we're not in Kansas anymore. We're a long way from 2008, right? Which actually, this is the Obama 2008 launch website. One of the things that's interesting about memory is that we remember things that may not actually be all that true, right? And so one of the narratives of the 2008 campaign was that this was social media driven campaign, right? But the reality of the 2008 campaign is that Twitter basically didn't exist, right? Facebook had only been non-EDU based for a year or so, and certainly was not the juggernaut that it has. It was still in a battle with MySpace for leading social network. That in fact, the driving force of this campaign website and throughout the campaign was what you see on the right, right? It was the YouTube campaign. It was not the social media campaign. That's a stark contrast from something like this, right? Which is The Life of Julia, which the Obama campaign just launched earlier this week. They are now creating things that they hope to become memes, right? That they hope to go viral. You can see very prominently placed on this. So for those of you that don't know, The Life of Julia is a fictional narrative of the life of a woman named Julia from birth to not death, but close, and how Obama's policies have kind of helped her all along the way, everything from being able to retain her parents' health insurance until 26 to getting a small business loan and all points in between. You'll notice right up in the upper right-hand corner is like button, 29,000 likes, right? Tweet button, email. You'll notice at the upper left corner of the whole page, 26 million likes for BarackObama.com on Facebook. I actually looked it up. That's almost exactly the halfway point for the number of total votes he got in 2008. So we are now seeing these campaigns become incredibly savvy about sharing, about creating things that they want to share. Now, there's certainly been missteps, right? The Mitt Romney campaign very, very quickly acted to shut down the fake Mitt Romney Pinterest account, which was an awesome Pinterest account, actually. I love the caviar spoon, says minimum order, 1,000 metric tons. Everything's cheaper when you buy it in bulk. They had this, not shut down, but they forced the account name to change from Mitt Romney GOP to fake Mitt Romney within 24 hours, really, of it running. And it hasn't really posted since. That's definitely a misstep. They did not embrace the meme, but they've learned a lot, right? So we had Julia, which was the Obama campaign's attempt at creating kind of virality. And then the Mitt Romney campaign completely subverted the narrative, right? They adopted and took over the Julia hashtag, right? So that they continued to write and continue to write. In fact, in the time that it took me to make this screenshot last night, one new tweet using the Julia hashtag had popped up to write their own narrative of Julia, who they kind of portray as a fallen woman. It's all Victorian more. It's this first thing, that bitterly clinging, which is @spread the misery. Like, that is a sad person that has that as their Twitter ID. Writes, at age 14, Julia joins Sluts for Obama, a government-sponsored club. It supports women's rights, which means abortion and flucking. I don't know why they did that. But anyway, you see that, right? the Julia hashtag does not work anymore for its original intended purpose, which was to help the Obama campaign. It now is working to kind of roil up the GOP base. And we're seeing that more and more and more, right? There are going to be billions of dollars spent on this campaign, right? And most of that is to buy television advertising. But what we see with something like Julia, what we see with from 2 weeks ago, which was the flip from the Mitt Romney carries his dog on the roof of his car meme to the Obama eats dog meme, right? What we see from the Obama campaign's successful embrace of the original hashtag of Obamacare as a negative into a positive, right? What we're seeing is even though millions, hundreds of millions of dollars is going to be spent on massive television buys, right? The real trench warfare of this campaign, right? The real bloodiest battles are going to be fought this way. Right? They're going to be fought with memes. So, thank you so much. I'm going to pass it on down the line.